Welcome to TH Stories 80, where stories take shape. From fanfiction in worlds like Game of Thrones, Naruto, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and Stargate SG-1 to chilling urban legends and eerie tales, there's always something to keep you listening. If you enjoy captivating storytelling, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Now, let's begin. Tara Sheppard. The Summer's Residence, Sunnydale, 1420 hours. Tara could only stare at the man who claimed to be her brother. She couldn't believe it, but she had read the letter addressed to him, written in her mother's handwriting and signed with her name. Glancing to the side, she saw Xander and Willow tending to Buffy, making sure she was alright. Then Tara turned her attention back to Sheppard. She had witnessed what he did with the bullet and how he healed Buffy's wound, yet she hadn't sensed him using any magic. Softly, she reached out, caressing his cheek. "John?" "Hey Tara," Xander said as he approached. "I never knew you had a half-brother." "Neither did I," she replied, still staring at Sheppard. Buffy, now steady on her feet with Willow's help, adjusted her blood-stained shirt. "Xander, you take his shoulders, I'll get his legs. Let's get him onto the couch." "Oh, fun," Xander muttered sarcastically as he bent down, slipping his arms under Sheppard's armpits. He grunted as he lifted. "This guy is heavier than he looks." "Tell me about it," Buffy said, gripping his legs. Together, they carried him up the stairs and into the house. Tara remained frozen, watching in stunned silence. Willow stepped beside her, intertwining their fingers. They stood there as the back door swung shut behind Buffy and Xander. "Tara?" Willow whispered, watching as the blonde wiped away tears. "This man, he just shows up out of nowhere, claiming he has a letter from your mother. I mean, I want him to be your brother, but the last brother we met tried to take you away by force. I just want to be sure that this guy really is your brother." Tara's voice wavered as she looked up at the sky. "The letter was from my mother. Her handwriting. Her... She trailed off, her breath hitching. Then she saw it. The window to the room where she and Willow were staying. It was cracked. A terrible feeling washed over her. "Tara?" Willow asked. But before she could say more, Tara let go of her hand and sprinted into the house. "Tara!" Willow called, hurrying after her. Buffy and Xander, still near the couch where they had laid Sheppard, turned in surprise as Tara ran past them, gripping the banister as she took the stairs two at a time. "What's going on?" Buffy asked as Willow entered the foyer. "I don't know," Willow admitted, shaking her head. "She must have seen something outside, but I have no idea what." Just then, they heard a panicked Tara yell out, "Willow, Buffy, Xander!" They rushed up the stairs and into the room Tara shared with Willow, the same room where the late Joyce Summers had once stayed. As they entered, they saw Tara standing with her back to them, staring at the window facing the backyard. "Tara, baby?" Willow asked as she walked up to her girlfriend. Tara raised her arm and pointed a trembling finger at the window. Willow stepped past her, stopping at the glass. She took a closer look, then gasped, stumbling back, her hands flying to her mouth in shock. "Oh God," Willow breathed before turning to Buffy and Xander. Then she turned back to the window. Buffy and Xander stepped past the two witches to see what had startled them. The glass was riddled with spiderweb cracks, radiating outward from two small holes, one in the middle of the window and the other near the upper left edge. Xander looked up at the ceiling and pointed at another hole. Buffy, scanning the room, spotted a final hole on the far side, directly across from the window, above a chest of drawers. Then Willow pointed at the spot where Tara had been standing. Both Buffy and Xander turned to look at her. At the same time, Tara slowly turned to face Willow. "Tara was standing right there," Willow whispered. Xander walked up behind Tara, glancing from the bullet hole in the window to Tara herself. Willow continued, voice shaking. "She was right there. It would have gone through and I would have been shot," Tara said, her hands flying to her mouth. If John hadn't come when he did, Willow, I would have been shot. I would have lost you, baby," Willow said, rushing forward to wrap Tara in a fierce embrace. "Oh God, I'd have lost you." Tara buried her face in Willow's neck, her shoulders trembling. Willow felt warm tears soak into her shirt. She looked up at Xander, who gave her a somber nod. "I'll let you two have some time alone," he murmured. "Yeah, Will," Buffy added. "We'll be downstairs. I'm gonna check his pockets for ID. I need to make sure he is who he says he is. None of us want some disgruntled initiative soldier showing up here. That means..." "I'll find out about him, Buff," Willow said softly, rubbing Tara's back. "But first, I need to..." She nodded toward Tara. "You know." "Yeah." Buffy nodded, stepping back as Willow held Tara tighter. Buffy placed a comforting hand on Tara's shoulder. "Tara, we're glad you're safe." "I'm glad you're safe." Tara gave a small nod. Then Buffy and Xander walked out of the room and down the stairs. Taking a deep breath, they stepped into the living room where Sheppard lay unconscious on the couch. Buffy knelt down and checked his pockets. "Got his wallet," she said. Xander nodded and walked over as Buffy flipped it open, examining the contents. "I've got a California ID, a San Francisco address." "Air Force," Xander said, pointing at the military ID. "At least that part is true." Buffy stared at the card, then at Sheppard. "Yeah, but him being Tara's half-brother? I don't know. I mean, we've met her family and..." "Hey," Xander interrupted, pointing towards the foyer. "There's something on the floor." He walked over and picked up a piece of paper and a photograph. His eyes widened as he read the paper, then strode back to Buffy and handed it to her. "It's a letter," he explained. "Tara must have dropped it when she ran outside." While Buffy read, Xander studied the photograph. A young Tara, holding a flower. "This is from when she was younger," he said, handing it to Buffy. She glanced at it, then back at Sheppard. Pressing her lips together, she murmured, "If he had all of this with him when he came here..." "I don't know," Buffy admitted. She turned to Xander, then glanced up the stairs. "I want Tara to have a better brother than the asshole who tried to take her away. But this guy is military, and the initiative already knows about me. Demons, magic. If they sent him here to get close to Tara and Willow, then it's bad," Xander finished grimly. "Think Riley might know something?" he asked. Buffy flinched. Xander mentally kicked himself. Bringing up her ex was a bad move. Riley had broken her heart, and despite everything, Buffy still had unresolved feelings for him. Feelings that might have pushed her toward Spike. Buffy sighed. Maybe. I'll ask him. If he's not in some faraway jungle somewhere. Hopefully, Xander said, scratching his head. He followed Buffy into the kitchen. But what are we gonna tell Dawn when she gets home? Somewhere unknown. Major Sheppard was conducting sweeps of the lower levels of Atlantis, with Taylor and 3 Marines recently beamed down from the Daedalus. His team, along with 4 others, was scouring the lower levels after Taylor claimed she could still sense Wraith in the city. After clearing their assigned areas, the Major and his team headed to the next floor. They had a job to do. They had hoodwinked the Wraith by switching Atlantis' shield into a cloak following a massive nuclear blast. It was used to force the Wraith into thinking the expedition had engaged Atlantis' self-destruct and destroyed the city. Once the Wraith fleet had taken the bait, they broke orbit and entered multiple hyperspace windows. Maclay and the others cheered. The expedition, with the help of the Daedalus, had won. Following the euphoria of beating the Wraith, Dr. Weir had Sheppard assign teams to go through the city and neutralize any Wraith that remained. Sheppard had already heard of one team killing a Wraith that attempted to detonate an explosive device, one that could have caused a catastrophic explosion and flooded that area of the city. As Sheppard and his team stepped out of the short-range transporter, they covered each other while moving through the hallways. Suddenly, Major Sheppard signaled for all of them to stop. "Major?" asked Taylor. "Do you hear that?" Sheppard asked, peeking into an adjacent hallway that was shrouded in darkness. "I do not hear anything," Taylor replied, shaking her head, confusion evident on her face. "John, there." Sheppard stiffened upon hearing the voice of a woman. It sounded distant, coming from the dark hallway. He raised his P90 and turned on the flashlight, stepping cautiously into the adjacent hallway and shining his light forward. He heard the voice again, then looked over his shoulder. "You don't hear that?" he asked. "Damn it, Tara!" A man's voice suddenly yelled from down the hallway. "You're a demon. You'll always be a demon." "Tara? Demon? What the hell?" Major Sheppard muttered, striding toward the darkness. He heard Taylor calling after him, telling him she didn't sense any Wraith, but he ignored her, drawn forward into the shadows. "Major, John!" Taylor's voice was the last thing he heard before he was fully consumed by the darkness. "Tara?" Sheppard called out, aiming his P90 ahead. His flashlight barely illuminated the pitch-black corridor. He called out again, stepping deeper and deeper into the darkness. "Tara?" The hallway around him suddenly began to brighten. He found himself standing in what appeared to be a hospital hallway. At least, that was his best guess based on the stench of antiseptic in the air and the gurneys lined up against the walls. Sheppard turned off his flashlight and lowered his weapon, his brows furrowing in confusion as he stared at a pair of double doors at the end of the hallway. He spun around, realizing that those were the only doors in sight. Something about this felt very off. The whole thing gave him eerie, shining vibes. "John!" There it was again, the woman's voice, and it was coming from the direction of the doors. Sheppard strode forward and pushed the doors open. As he stepped through, he was engulfed in a bright white light. A few seconds later, the light faded and he found himself standing at the foot of a hospital bed. A woman lay there, her head wrapped in a pastel-colored shawl. She looked utterly exhausted. Her face was deathly pale, and she was connected to several machines, including one monitoring her heartbeats. Despite her frail condition, Sheppard recognized her. It was the same woman in white he had seen in Colorado Springs, the same woman he had glimpsed in Sunnydale. "Tara," the woman whispered, turning her head. Sheppard's gaze shifted to a blonde girl who slowly stood. Her eyes were wet with tears as she stepped toward the woman and reached for her hand. "Tara, my sweetheart," the woman murmured. "Mama," Tara choked out, her shoulders trembling. "Dad and Donnie they're outside. I can get them." "Sweetie," the woman, Laura Maclay, Sheppard assumed, said softly, "I need to talk to you alone." Tara simply nodded. "I am so sorry, my Tara," Laura continued, and Tara shook her head. "You have to stand alone for now. I'll watch over you, but when you come of age, I need you to make your own way." "Mama," Tara whimpered, her voice breaking. Sheppard slowly moved to the other side of the bed as Laura continued. "Remember what I told you, Tara," she said gently. "Don't believe what they tell you. You are my light, and while Richard and Donnie may try to tarnish that light, I know you will shine even brighter. You will shine as bright as the stars themselves, my little Tara." "Mama," Tara whispered, tightening her grip on Laura's hand. "Please don't say things like that. Don't tell your father or your brother," Laura panted, the heart monitor beginning to beep wildly. I have kept an account for you. They don't know about it, because if they did, they would take it away. The music box you got me, inside side drawer, everything you need for you when you come of age. Leave. Find yourself. Understand?" "Mama," Tara cried as tears streamed down her face. Sheppard could only watch helplessly. "I'll always be watching you," Laura whispered. Then suddenly her gaze shifted, locking directly onto Sheppard. The Major took a step back, startled. "There will always be someone watching over you," Laura told him. Sheppard pressed his lips together as Laura gave him a faint smile before closing her eyes. The beeping of the machines around her escalated into a frenzied alarm. "Help!" Tara screamed, shaking her mother, then looking over her shoulder. "Daddy, Donnie!" The double doors slammed open, and 2 nurses and a doctor rushed in. A young man and an older man followed. Sheppard watched as the doctor gently pulled Tara away, but before she could react, the older man, Richard Maclay, Sheppard guessed, grabbed her roughly by the arm and yanked her back. "What did you do?" Richard hissed at Tara. "What did you do?" "She used her demonic powers to kill Mom," Donnie accused. His face twisted with anger. His eyes darted from Tara to Laura's lifeless body and then back again. "She killed Mom." "2 demons," Richard spat, dragging Tara toward the door. Sheppard raised his weapon. "Let her go," he shouted. No one heard him. Richard shoved Tara out of the room as she sobbed and begged to stay. "Daddy," she wailed, "please let me stay." Donnie sneered at her. "If you get emotional here, your demon half will come out and kill everyone. Is that what you want? Huh?" He leaned closer, his voice venomous. "You want to kill everyone?" Tara trembled, shaking her head. No, please. I'll beat you if you don't go," Donnie snarled. Sheppard clenched his fists. He was going to have a conversation with these people, one way or another. The Major was surrounded by another flash of light before finding himself in what seemed to be Tara's room. He saw her packing a few bags just as a car honked from the driveway. Walking over to the window, the Major saw a cab waiting on the front lawn. Tara rushed to the same window and called down to the driver. "I'll be right down," she said. Turning around, the Major watched as she glanced around her room, a backpack slung over her shoulder and a bag in each hand. "Okay," she muttered, almost to herself. I've got everything. Now as long as they don't find me, I'll be alright. A new life, away from Daddy, from Donnie, from Beth. Mama, stay with me, please." She then walked out of the room just as another bright flash of light engulfed the Major. The Summers residence, an hour later. When it faded, he was lying on something soft and comfortable. Distant voices murmured nearby. He stirred, his memory returning. He had used strange abilities to save someone. Slowly he opened his eyes and found himself staring into a pair of bright, curious ones. A young brunette girl knelt beside him, grinning. "Hi," she said cheerfully. "I'm Dawn, and you're hot." To be continued.